So originally I wanted to make a two-piece video about Zenless Zone Zero 1.4 and Wuthering Waves, not the 2.0 update, just the game in general, respectively. I just wanted to talk about how many good things these games have, how much improvements this game have over time, and I would end it by saying that these games are still gacha games at the end of the day, so they're still not that great. But as I wrote more over time, the more infuriated I get. Why? Because these games are too fucking good to be a gacha game, and I wish everyone can see this and be mad about it. Let's start from Zenless Zone Zero. It has a really appealing packaging, be it the visuals, the characters, some would say the plot and music, which I vehemently disagree, but at the end of the day, the gachaness still has an overwhelming presence because all you can do in between of character banners and endgame content is leveling up. And let me tell you, it's a coal mine down there. At the very least, there are attempts to make a more fun experience beyond those two things, like the new roguelike mode, for example. But, I don't know, the whole gameplay related updates are just a meh for me at best. Because again, they don't really fix the core game loop of a gacha game, so it's more like putting a band-aid over a huge gaping infected pus-filled wound. However, the dev did manage to blow me away with how they conducted the story bout. No, I'm not talking about the story itself. It's not bad, just decent at best. Really straightforward and very short, plus the other factions are mostly just cameos, so that's a bummer. What I'm actually talking about is how they listen to the people who've been telling them that the story sucks, and as an answer, they gave us the most appropriate one anyone can ever think of. A fucking playable level just for exposition. Okay, did you just do this? Did you just do this? Yes, I'm thoroughly impressed with this. Look, there are only two ways to do exposition in my opinion without getting someone to feel sleepy or irritated. Either make it interesting, or make it short, or put it in the background. That was three, but whatever. Old games did this. They knew the writing in some of those old arcade games were not great, so they'll let you play while the exposition is going. Or just make it short. Or hell, let you even skip it altogether. So far, I haven't seen anyone talk about this. And I think I know why. It's just so much of a trivial thing that probably lots of players just got that thing going over their heads. Instead, people are glazing the seemingly big flashy things too hard to the point it gets too embarrassing. I mean, I don't know. I still don't really like the game. I made a video criticizing about the game around its release, and I still stand with it. But I just gotta call this out to the devs, because I think what makes a good game isn't the big flashy stuff, but the small, detailed little stuff. For it is, I think, the thing that made a video game an identity. And the fact that we're doing that made me hopeful that there might be some MiHoYo staff that actually do want to make a good game. It makes me warm inside whenever I think about it, and I thought I just wanted to share it. Same thing with Wuthering Waves. I think they made a great game with better combat and better writing, I must say. Maybe on par with FGO with less levity, I'd say. They got more stuff to offer than most gacha games, if not F2P games out there. And it's just great, you know? Great to play, great to look at. However, I must deeply regret to inform you that the problems of it being a gacha game is still there, and I fucking hate it. I hate for relying so much on leveling up. I hate for only able to procure certain materials at a certain amount of times per day. I hate that every single characters to get are fucking females, and we all know why. Despite all of that, I still can't deny that it is a good game indeed. I love the writing, I love the world landmarks and puzzles, I appreciate the combat system, I love when the devs actually listen to the problems the community had with the game and immediately release an update to rectify the situation. You can tell that the dev cares about the game and is wanting to put out the quality for everyone to enjoy. Only the question is, why does it have to be a goddamn gacha game? It could be easily passed as any other AA premium game in my opinion. Hell, even too decent to be one, to be honest. Sure, it has some flaws, everything does, but with this level of caring from the devs, it can be easily ranked up to be an actual AAA game. A good ass F2P AAA game. I even dare to say the world shall be shaken if they ever make a non-gacha game that plays like this, both for Kuro Games and MiHoYo. Maybe an MMORPG? Hmm? Perhaps similar or closely to another game called PSO2? Hmm? Disclaimer, PSO2 I refer here is the classic base version, not the new NTS version. I mean, the market is there. PSO2 was filling and monopolizing the place for a long time. Until it fell off. Blue Protocol was the other big thing coming. Until it got cancelled. DFO tried to do something like that with their DFO2 slash remake. Until it got cancelled. So right now, it's a free damn real estate. It has a precedent already that anyone who can make this type of game could be going on for at least 10 years without even having to make the game a true gacha game. At least, to my knowledge, that was the case with PSO2. Yes, PSO2 has some gacha in it, but the game doesn't exactly revolve around it. You procure most gears and upgrades through playing the game, not your damn wallets. I mean, you can do that, but it's not the only way to get them, while them gacha games force you to play the gacha mechanics to get certain kinds of upgrades, and sometimes, if not all the time, it is the only way to make your character OPSL. Like, it is kind of baffling to me that we could have PSO2 like as the next big thing if people really do want some big action free to play RPG like game, but no, we have the virtual anime waifu collectors instead. And now with Ananta, NTE, and that new GFO game on the horizon, I just feel fed up with these types of games, man. Let me tell you more reasons why PSO2 is a blueprint for a successful lifetime project. The reason you play the game can be various. Wanting to play with friends, wanting to level up, wanting to procure some gears or upgrades, there's always room for people for any reason to have fun in the video game. Now what the hell do people do in gacha games nowadays? I bet my ass off most of y'all are gonna say grinding, or maybe should I say mint picking. Y'all don't want to miss them full stamina every day, because if you just miss one day or even 1 minute, you feel like you're wasting time and feel bad about it. Let's be real. Y'all really not having fun with the game. Y'all just let FOMO creeping up under your skin and let it linger and fear mongering you. This doesn't happen with real games, or in this case, PSO2. Because what makes these games extremely, infinitely playable is just that they are so much fun to play. And that's it. There's no FOMO, there's no predatory practices. The only thing they gated behind paywalls are strictly the quality of life stuff, but you can still play the game normally without them. It's a pure, unadulterated fun that can span for an unlimited amount of time. Sure, it can be tedious, but at the very least, you can do the quests over and over and over and over until you get the thing that you want in a day. Unlike gacha games, which mostly only let you do certain things in X amount of times per day, unless you pay for stamina. And the thing is, I get the same sense in these gacha games too. I actually love playing both ZZZ and Wuthering Waves, but I just don't feel like there's a meaning of beating the endgame content or the hardest fights. Like I always picture myself if I ever done with any of those, and then ask myself afterwards, now what? In other games like PSO2 or Monster Hunter World as examples, there is a purpose for it. It's not just about the prowess contest, but also helping other players to get through the quests and getting the drops, which coincides with our own goal as well. To this day, I've been playing Monster Hunter World for at least 600 hours, and I haven't beaten the Fatalis just yet. Not because I'm scared that after I beat the big bad dragon, I will lose some sense of wanting to come back ever for whatever reasons. I'm just still enjoying my time in it. To fight monsters with other people, to help other people with their quests, to overcome through adversities that me and 3 other strangers have to deal with. Something that gacha players would never ever understand about. Well, I'll play the co-op mode with other people so you can shut the fuck up. Okay, bucko. First of all, you bought the characters. You are not exactly building up the characters all by yourself from the ground up. And let's be honest, the prowess and skill in these games are just about timing stuff right and nothing else, so don't get too cocky about it. Second of all, am I the only one here who doesn't have an inkling of desire to talk to a gacha player? Sorry for saying this, but To my understanding, these players are probably mostly like 12 or 15, physically or mentally, and usually from experience, they can get to be really clingy and really attached to you if they ever find you slightly impressive. Or they just don't bother with having a small talk and be silent the whole way through and leave without no traces and actually defeat the purpose of how co-op should be. Look, I don't like being a babysitter, but I would also love me some guest ethics in my Soul 3 place thingy. In general, I just don't like how these games incorporate co-op. It doesn't feel natural and probably needs more of a coordinations to set up boundaries and stuff. Oh, wait, what? DZ doesn't even have co-op function and yet they still put the add friends function in it? Huh, that's weird. It has an in-game chat function in there? Why the fuck would I want to chat in-game? All of this can be alleviated easily if the games are not bound to be a gacha game. That's why I dare say Wuthering Waves needs to be EOS and have them make a new game that has a more tangible and sensible sense of progression instead of relying heavily on everyone's STEM plastic cards. I'm saying Wuthering Waves specifically because let's be real, MiHoYo is like Nintendo but with more ego, so there's a slim chance they would understand what I'm saying. Unlike Kura Games, Red Kura Games, who's the best mobile dev company? I mean, they got it! For the love of God, they actually got it. I couldn't believe that these games made me crave to play more, only to be disappointed seeing how many modes that actually matter for progressions are locked behind stamina. AKA paywall not really. It's a different feeling when I was playing Classic PSO2, where I found myself playing for 6 hours a day and had to stop myself even though I want to play more of it. Some people might say it's a good thing, but the difference was I wasn't really getting stuck on leveling up in PSO2 nor in Monster Hunter World, while in ZZZ and Wuthering Waves, it could take forever! Now, PSO2 is not by any means a perfect game. The UX can be pretty overwhelming, only a bunch of movesets and skills are viable, otherwise you won't deal enough damage. The story ranged from decent to horrible, not surprising, and yes, it doesn't play like the old PSOs. I can say most of the old heads of PSO fans, especially PSO 1 fans, would tell you that the game is too anime and just not great in general. Now, I don't want to be harsh about it, but I'd say most of them don't even get to the good stuff yet. Yes, this is definitely a flaw of the game, that is that the good shits are so later in the game, which requires kind of a hefty commitment, and most of these old heads are too impatient and nostalgia smitten for that. I get it. However, once you get to a certain point, be it finally able to try a certain class, or beat a certain quest, the game is finally able to show you how it's better in any way than any other PSOs. As an example, you think ZZZ and Wuthering Waves soundtracks are dope? Oh, young Padawan, let me educate y'all ears real quick.
Now the frantic battle starts to feel alive. Distorted time, space in the dark. There is an absence of the light. Before you blink, everything is wiped out into the abyss. They have come for all the sweet to eliminate us. Waiting for
so many things in this game that actually are dope and great. I was first going into this game back when the pandemic started, thinking it was gonna be an in and out, real quick kind of thing. I thought I was gonna hate it, but even 90 hours in, I already saw the game got so many good things here. To the point, I decided to go back and spend 2,000 plus hours in it. But alas, as with any other good things in life, that good feeling too had its end. We all thought NGS would be the further expansion of PSO2, but the only thing they expanded so far is the fashion catalog, while everything else got scaled down right back to the Stone Age. It's hard to be a Sega fan these days, to be honest. Everyone may say that Sega is back with VF Returns and Sonic, Yakuza, and anything Atlas made getting a lot of love from them. But the fact they did a hit and miss in remaking their old titles, like people say Panzer Dragoon remake is really good, but I know damn well House of the Dead remake isn't, which I think is more of a staple Sega title than Panzer Dragoon. They said they're gonna remake Crazy Taxi, but with a twist. It's an open world MMO-like and you have cops chasing you. My brother in Christ, driving like maniac is the fun of the game. It's in the goddamn name, for God's sake. Perhaps the most weirdest shit I've seen from them is that they don't even know their own IPs and rejecting the idea of being a retro company. Now, I don't know if these are accurate translations or it's just some other dickhead trying to rile people up, like me. And oh man, they got me pretty good if they do. But let's just say the translation is accurate. That is probably the most asinine thing I've ever heard about Sega from Sega. Lots of their whole ass library came from the 90s arcade era, which is pretty retro if you ask me. Most of their IPs from that era are still not getting any proper port to modern consoles to this day. Gunblade NY, LA Machine Gun, Jumbo Safari, Wild Riders, Scud Race, Motor Raid, The Ocean Hunter, that one Jurassic Park game, Dynamite Deca, Fighting Vipers, Rail Chase 1 and 2, Virtual Racing, hell, maybe the newer ones like Ghost Squad, Initial D, Virtual Cop 3, Vampire Knight, Afterburner Climax, The House of the Dead 4, and Scarlet Dawn, not to mention some games that were ported to PC but never got any newer port releases. Like, it's just so baffling to me that they had the audacity to say that. It really reaffirms my own belief that Sega only loves your games if only it comes from Atlas, RGG Studio, or Sonic Team. And other than that, they will treat it like it's an unwanted child or something. So, yeah, it's just so heartbreaking that these gacha companies do have the ability to make an actual good game. And also there are demands for these type of fast-paced, action-based gameplay apparently, but we got all of this as a goddamn gacha game. It just feels kind of wasted that all of these efforts are only being put into a game that is basically a resource sink, and all of the profits are being put back to make the resource sink look more and more enticing with each update. It's a different story if they put their money on something else. Type Moon and Cygames have been doing this for a while now with FGO and Grand Blue respectively. Sure, FGO gameplay sucks ass, and the gacha is horrible. But hey, they put their money to where it's worth, and it's always been their thing to release other things, like Fate Samurai Remnant, or Notable Type Lumina. And not to mention Witch of the Holy Knight, or Mahotsukai no Yoru if you want to get fancy, is gonna get an anime release this year, and it looks hella promising. Same thing with Grand Blue with Versus Rising and Uplink. At the very least, we can see the money goes on to build something else other than the gacha stuff. As for Kuro Games and MiHoYo, that is still remain to be seen. I know some of you would say, but ZCZ and Wu will cost more than 2D games with shitty gameplay. And for that, I would say, that's fair, but the more recent 3D gacha games are not that sustainable in the future, therefore they really should pivot to something else before something bad happens. All in all, I'm just a guy who made this video, venting my own frustration towards these supposedly good things we could have. Not to say everyone should be agreeing on it, but I'm just saying, gacha game sucks. And it's a goddamn fact. The world would be a better place if we just have one less thing that sucks ass. is all I'm trying to say. But hey, what can I say? I'm just a speck of dust in this vast cosmic ray of life. Maybe I'm speaking out to the void right now, or maybe I got an audience. And for those who've been watching this far, thanks for watching. I appreciate it, I really do. And thus, I do not wish to hold you any much longer. This is a random guy on the internet signing off. Have a good one.